Hey, howdy, hey. Hope you're doing well this evening. It is another bitterly cold day out there and evening out there in Alaska. -7 when I got into the house. Nice and chilly. Anyway, we're going to be doing the same sort of thing we've been doing the last few days. Do a couple of games and then go into coding. Let me double check that all of our audio is up and operational. Wonderful. And good Fortnite is also working. Okay. We'll just accept wherever it spits us out. That works. We're still stuck on this map because the other map has too many crashes. But that's fine. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the changes they brought to the other map. I'm not really happy with this map either, but you know, it at least plays smoothly. Nothing in here. Interesting. And there's nothing underneath. Strange little shit. But then again, if that one's strange, this one's even more strange for having a vending machine. Oh, it takes wood. Oh, what the... Okay, so, that's not good. He's gonna find a weapon first. While I'm in here just chopping this thing to pieces. Just so I can get a sniper. Kind of pointless. I mean, well, maybe not entirely. This might work, this might not. Is that enough? Huzzah! Nope. Almost there. If only harvesting wood was actually this easy. But it's not. It's been quiet this last week. And you know, it's got me thinking about some plans for the future. During this break, I'm going to be working on many projects. as many as I can. For starters, we're doing the game, not because it's because it's part of some other ideas that I might explore in the future. But it won't happen immediately. For those who have not seen the game so far, you will see it in a little over an hour, in which we will experiment with it. Right now it is an alien hunting game, and it's the first time of me trying to do anything like this, like legitimately, and it's actually working. It has me a bit flabbergasted that it is working like right off the bat. I mean, yes, sure, we've had some problems. I've had some problems with the development, but for the most part, it's working. I don't have much to complain about. What I do not really know what to do with is create rewards so people that play test it will actually, you know, come away with something of merit. Something that will justify playing something so simple. So that's my big scheme right now, try and figure out how to add some value outside of the game so that people will actually want to give it a try. And if they don't, well, can't make everyone enjoy what it is that you do. We need to talk to Arudai and get the next phase of the plan kind of squared away. Oh wow, that hurt. He would get distracted. He thinks I ran further, when in truth, I went in reverse. Okay, gotta risk it. All right, into a plane. I don't want to have to deal with the same problems that I had yesterday. Man, that storm travels far. That guy that was shooting at me is probably going to not make it. I'm barely going to make it. And I'm in a plane, too. That guy was not. But if he does, then that means he'll be coming around here shortly. Whoa, hello. Oh, come on. I messed that up horribly. Oh, shoot. This is not going so well. Gotta get to my plane again. What to do? Well, you know, there's a lot of neat things you could do with some coding. Do with a game of some kind. But you know, one of the most important things you can do is to teach life lessons. Not a whole lot of games are going to lend itself to that. And the game that I'm working on doesn't do that at all. But it is something where the older I get, the more I'm really understanding the need that everything needs to have value to it. Something outside of fun. Fun is okay for a time, but it's very short-lived. And the older you get, the more you start to understand the consequences of fun. That sounds weird, doesn't it? Not a lot of people online are going to ever say something like that. But it's true. No one cares that your sports team was a success. No one cares that you got 5 headshots in a row in Halo. No one cares that you were on the top leaderboard of StarCraft. No one cares if you took out the entire lobby in Fortnite. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you do with the time that you have for people. What do you do in terms of ministry? What do you do in terms of kindness and mercy, worship? There's a lot of things that you have to focus on in this life. And we stick so much to trivial stuff that it's really sad, honestly. We have to be able to value the time that we have. To be able to say, yes, we're going to focus on trying to do something for somebody rather than just for our own profit or for our own happiness. Do something for the happiness of another. Some people that comes easy. For others, that is really hard. And for some people, they like to think that they're being merciful and kind and charitable, and in truth, they're actually being some of the worst in that. Because it's actually about trying to get status or some sort of pride issue. That is bait. I mean, not really, but Feels like it. Come on up here, buddy. Come on, you're nearby. One story down. I think. Will that summon you? Doesn't look like it. There you are. Kind of need a grenade to throw in there. Two people in the area, maybe three. See if we can bait him out with that. Come on, buddy. Okay, you're gonna make me come to you. Very well. So be it. Actually, I think he was on his way of running, and so I've been waiting just for nobody. That's my guess. That's a tough decision. Well, we're in build mode, so I better have this. Get a good view of the area. Wait a minute, another present. I don't think that was there when I did my first fly through of the town. So that probably means he did that. Come on out, buddy. relatively slow way of traveling, but you at least can get over difficult terrain. I did not get shield. Someone took another plane. Plane down there. Doing this for some practice. The plane is coming to attack. And it is tough to dogfight without proper joystick. Okay, okay. Oh, that was not a hoverboard. I thought it was. And so I had to try and get it. And I missed horribly because of my adrenaline. I think that's good accuracy. So if the game was to be developed, maybe not this one, but to be reskinned into some other type of game, what would people be interested in? That's one of my challenges as a creative, is that I can have an idea. Good luck trying to get people to actually like it. You see, let's say you came up with a great and exciting, thrilling sci-fi story. And this is kind of hitting hard because I was at the bookstore the other day and I looked around and I saw books galore. And most of them, 99% of them, correction, 99.9% of all the books at the bookstore, I have never heard about, let alone read. It is very tough to stay on top of all the books that are written. So let's say you wrote a thrilling sci-fi story. How do you get people to pick up your book or your movie and not someone else's? That's the real trick. See, there is one way to actually do that. One way that I've seen other creators do that has been the only way that they have been able to effectively make a product and put it out there. It's to have clout and to really lean into it. There's some people out there that have so much fame. All they have to do is say they're working on something. Bass is stuck there. That they're working on something, and immediately you get thousands of people backing the project. Poor fella. Fame is how you succeed. And I hate that. I hate that so much. I do not like the fact that it's fame that gets your product noticed. Because then it makes people very egotistical, it makes them cutthroat, and it creates all sorts of problems. No! Oh. Phooey. I messed that up. Could it be that it still nope, it disappeared. I was trying to land there. I forgot that it will eject you. Phooey. So how are you going to persuade somebody? You have your product. You're ready for the world to discover what you have. And then no one pays attention. And the people that you thought were going to pay attention suddenly reveal that they never actually liked your stuff. They actually were interested just so they could make sure that you were not competition in the future. That stuff happens. The industry is cold, cruel, and really doesn't favor kindness in any way, shape, or form. That being said, when you stoop down to their level, it makes things all the worse. See, God wants us to behave with dignity and kindness. If we're going to cut other people down so we can find glory and success, well, we're not really living with a kingdom mindset. See, whoa, golly. Oh my goodness. That was close. I never pick those things up. Oh, golly. That is, may not seem like much for the average player, but for me, I never picked those things up. And for whatever reason, I held on to it. So, kingdom mindset. Your treasure is not supposed to be on this earth. If you get 5 mansions, you're still going to perish one day. If you end up acquiring $50 million, or correction, how about someone comes along and says, you are worth $700 billion. Which, by the way, is what happened to Elon Musk recently. Is there any worth to something like that? Or is it dangerous for your soul? Our soul longs for heaven. It longs for a restored and renewed heaven and earth. And we don't have that. Everything is going to rust. Everything is going to rot. Everything's going to abandon and betray. You cannot expect that the world is going to treat you fairly when you acquire something. The world is going to become cutthroat and evil, and it will try to take what you have. A kingdom mindset says, you know what? The world is going to be successful in this in this time. Your goal is to create, though, treasure that does not disappear. That is only to be done by following what Scripture tells us, by trying to be like Jesus in the sense of that You are going to try and live as closely as you can to the guidelines and direction that he gave. When you do that, this world means nothing. I do not have multi-millions of dollars to be able to fulfill my dreams. Doesn't mean that, well, doesn't mean that if I can't pull it off, I'm a failure. I mean, it can feel like that, but it doesn't really mean that you're a failure. What you need to remember is that there is nothing in this world that you can take with you, but there is one thing you can take with you. What is that? It's other people. Marty McFly. What would Doc say, Marty? How dare you try and attack people? By having a kingdom mindset, you start... Uh-oh. Not what I wanted. Shoot. Oh well. By having a kingdom mindset, you're more willing to accept when things fail. Because you know that, well, this life is temporary, and that there's a much longer life awaiting. You don't get to experience that life yet. You have to run through the trials of this world before you can experience what that life is like. But that's why you can be a failure in that sense and still find success, whereas somebody who finds success now might find failure one day. No, trying to get wealth, clout, fame, glory, that stuff will not work. So sure, someone may come along and find success. They may build an empire. But is that what God wants us to do? What if we found out that there is a horrible, horrible consequence for such a thing? What if we were to find out, hypothetically, what if we were to find out that the average person who finds success is like 1%, that 1% of the 1% that ever finds salvation? What if that is what happens? Now, I think the number's a little bit higher, but that's my human observations. I don't know. Jesus mentioned that it is easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to get into the kingdom of heaven. Now, was he talking just about the rich, or was he expanding into other areas that maybe back then were not fully understood or identified? Well, while it was not directly mentioned, it is indirectly mentioned. Things like influencers would fall into that category. Things like businessmen, kings and rulers, politicians, people of power. Have you noticed that recently it's not about how much money you have, but what power you have? Times have been changing, and the old power structure of our culture is shifting. It's not the question of whether or not you have money now. It's more the question of whether or not you have clout, because clout generates money. I didn't think that was the case when I was in college, and I can safely say that is indeed the case. If you have clout, people will give you loans, and they will get the government to bail you out if you mess up. Because in the end, you are wealthy in a way that people of old were not even wealthy. So when you go through life and you think you're not successful, I want you just to remember that it's not about how much money you have. It's not about how much fame you get or whatnot. It's about what your spirit is like, because that is the real test of this life. That's the one thing that you have to take with you when you pass, and the one thing that you want to seek others out to be able to help them in their journey. By the way, that mentality that I kind of conveyed, that's part of what I explore in this little booklet called Pharaoh and the Smith. I'm trying to get these printed, and I'm making them myself in order to allow people to have them in physical form, because enough people complained about the web version. I was like, okay, fine, I'll do a printed version too. Right now, they're just giveaways. Maybe one day I'll do a sell for them, but I don't think there's enough interest in that yet. That was a good shot. Come on out, buddy. Oh, there you are. Okay, you're just gonna run to the side. Wonderful. Oh, there you are. Yeah, you got a fort. I got a fort. Mine's made of stone. Yours is made out of wood. Who's got the better fort? Oh, I see. Now you want my fort. Can come this way, huh? close. Very close. Shoot. That was unfortunate. I did not have very good gear, and should have left when I had the when I didn't have very good gear, and I was like, yeah, probably gonna still give this a shot. Oh well. So here's a consideration with when it comes to the things of this world. There was a guy that was talking on the web not long ago, and he was mentioning about how he had it all. He had wealth, he had fame, he was successful, he had many wives, he had many kids. He was always being sought out for wisdom. And you know what is interesting is that I think he is in very big danger spiritually. That may sound a little strange to say. Oh, someone's spiritually in danger. It's like, oh, well, that's an easy cop-out. You want to say that, oh, they're making mistakes, but they're being successful. So thus, they're not seeing punishments. They're seeing fame, success. Well, if they're experiencing worldly success, doesn't that mean they're spiritually doing well? No. See, the devil gives gifts galore to his followers. And it's not out of generosity or kindness. It's because they're vices. It's designed to make people abandon the values that they should be holding to. It makes them want to reject what God offers so that they can get the success of the here and the now. Oh, darn, I'm not going to land fast enough. This is not good. Dang. I was hoping to sneak past him. So someone's successful in this life. How does that mean that they're in danger spiritually? Because if you are starting to say, well, I don't need to seek forgiveness, I don't need to seek humility, I don't need to be kind and loving, I don't need to be generous or merciful. Yeah, that guy is very good. So you can have all that stuff, but still be deep in sin. I like to kind of think about how there are people in this world that are drug lords. They have it all. They have power, they have money, they They have everything they want. They have mansions. They feel good. But in the end, what is actually going to happen is they're going to find out that there is a record being kept of their soul. And again, it may sound like a cop-out. They are being successful. Why would you be so judgmental of that? I'm observing the interesting situation that happens when somebody is living in rebellion and they don't care. They're not trying to change. They're not accepting correction. They are just doubling down on their sin. Now, if you don't believe in a judgment after death, you think that, well, live for today because tomorrow we die, basically. It sounds kind of like the way that you're supposed to go through life, and a lot of pagan cultures teach that. But if there is indeed, as those of us in Christ believe, that there is judgment that will take place, the consequences, they're not to be trifled with. And suddenly what seems like, it's just personal preference, starts becoming a matter of eternal torment. Suddenly that changes the tune a little bit. Oh, that sounds so cruel and terrible. Think the drug cartel is being charitable with his wealth? No. I think in recent years we've come to realize that if you have wealth, it means that you have the ability to be pretty cruel. A good omen. Ooh. It's pretty good. Have you ever been scared of what someone of power will do to you? Either a cruel government or a businessman. Somebody who holds the keys of authority over you, or taking the authority, all with the design purpose of causing you harm. It may sound like there is nothing but to be cruel back. That is not what God teaches us. That's not what Christ taught us. We are supposed to show mercy even when we are not shown mercy. We're supposed to show love and kindness even when we are shown none. In that way, we help to save their souls. But make no mistake, there is going to be accountability for the way that we treat one another. God hates it when we abuse one another, when we take advantage of each other, tearing each other down in order to build ourselves up. Selfishness may sound benign to some, but in truth, it is a horrible thing that will allow you to tear someone into pieces, all for your own benefit. God will judge stuff like that. And the people that are downtrodden in the modern day, one day it will be a point of where God will finally read out the what happened to those people and will hold accountable all those that did it. When we think about sins being judged, we think of, oh, well, it was that little white lie that we told as a kid. Oh, what are we going to be judged for that and be sent to hell? I think that's not necessarily the right question to be asking. It's more like someone who starts off by telling that little white lie. What happens when they grow older? Will they continue doing it? Will it get worse? Will the lies they start to tell start to become vengeful, trying to tear someone else down? See, there's a point where almost every time I've heard of a sin being done for an entire lifetime and going unchecked, it gets worse. Worse and worse. A lie may sound simple and benign to some, but eventually it will lead to the physical harm of somebody. Like to that anonymous AI. Eventually it requires someone to have to pay the consequence for a lie. You go around and slander somebody, eventually that is going to come back and either hurt them or hurt you. It's all designed with pain. Stealing. Oh, I just stole a candy bar every now and then as a kid. Well, then you get older, if that keeps growing and amplifying, then soon it becomes stealing of more and more until finally you're a full-blown crook and you're stealing someone's livelihood. Someone might be cast out of their home because they can't make a payment because you stole all the stuff that they had to make a living. They pay the price for your sin. What happens if you go around and dishonor your mother and father? Well, let's tease that one out. Dishonoring is to really show a rejection of authority. If you don't honor your father and mother, you eventually start to question everyone and everything. Now, it's good to question people of authority who are abusing authority, but pretty soon it becomes more about you not wanting to submit to any authority. You want to be in charge of everything. Well, will you submit to a creator? Will you submit to the rule of a nation? Will you submit to the authority of a pastor? What about an elder? Will you ever admit that you have something wrong if you believe that you're the sole source of authority? Your parents cared for you growing up. Maybe you didn't grow up in a household where your parents cared. And there's punishment for parents that are abusive as well. So it's not like kids are the only ones that are to be treated poorly. But the thing is that every sin has, you could say, a long-term consequence. Using the Lord's name in vain. That's a denial, in many ways, of God's authority. That's kind of, well, throughout human history, that's been one of the worst possible things you could do. It usually is because you're part of a spiritual war and you are giving the enemy an opportunity to use you in horrible ways. We don't fully understand the spiritual war. We're not meant to. I think if we fully understood the spiritual war that's taking place around us, it would freak the daylights out of us. Oh, wow, that hurt. Oh, they're exploding in the air. Oh, that's sad. This is dangerous. Ooh, like I said, this is dangerous. Ignore there's a rain cloud floating away. I gotta get out of here. Oh, that's interesting. But now I'm in danger still. Gotta get moving. Fly away. This is dangerous. I just need to get more health and reset. Anyway, I hope the reference actually made sense. I don't know if anyone was listening to that, but I'm really starting to wonder. Because our culture is in very big trouble. Very big trouble. And I think that the youth are starting to come to grasp with that. The older generation has no idea. It's not just our culture that is in danger or our economy. Our soul for the country is in serious trouble. The older generation cast it aside with glee in many ways. The last couple of generations have been very wicked, and it actually reaches back all the way to the just after the Civil War, as I understand, based upon my research. What sort of legacy will we leave behind? Will we be power hungry? Oh no. Dang. Will we be power hungry, seeking our own glory and our own wealth and fortune? Or will we be the first generation in a long time to show mercy and kindness and forgiveness? Oh, sure, the other generations like to claim that they were doing it. But there's a lot of people that I read about or met that kind of disprove that to me. I think a lot of it was about them. And I think we finally understand as a culture, in terms of the youth of the culture, that that mentality only destroys your nation. And we're trying to find a different way forward. What that will be, we don't fully understand right now. We're still trying to come to terms with our own kind of lot before we can really plan like a good direction forward. But here's a couple of ideas, because there's another reason why I've been pondering this, and it has to do with something that some conservative commentators have said. Now, I disagree with them in many ways, but there's some areas that I do agree. Our culture is in danger, more danger than I think a lot of the old guard really understands. This nation was sold out. Its youth betrayed. So weird. It's like, honor your father and mother. And yet, what if your father and mother, not saying mine necessarily, but I'm saying culturally, our father and mother cast us aside? What do you do in that situation? You have to turn back to God, whereas the old did not. There will be a punishment that takes place, and hopefully the younger generation will be spared a little bit. Something's still going to happen. There's still going to be a penalty that gets paid. I think we're in the middle of it. I think it's going to get worse. But anyway, so conservative commentators were mentioning that that Charlie Kirk and his assassination showed that there is things cannot be saved. That that's it. There is no way to repair things. That is what someone who is focused on clout, fame, and power would say. They're like, well, the conservative movement is in trouble. Is that the real thing that we need to be concerned about? Shouldn't we be more concerned with the state of God's church? You know that our founding fathers, the only reason why they were able to stabilize our culture and we didn't devolve into an immediate tyranny afterwards, like so many other British nations when they separated, you know why that happened? Because God showed mercy. The church is where we are going to see hope reestablished. And our churches are not doing well. And so a lot of people were turning to politics for their solutions. And thus why Charlie Kirk became such a big focus for them. But I don't think that was the right thing. I think what Charlie Kirk did was he helped us to understand the need to turn back to God. His creation of Turning Point USA, I got a prediction. I think it's going to die out. Or at least the current version of it is going to die out. I don't think it's well established. And I think Charlie Kirk probably would have looked at that and said, yeah, this is too secular. We need something that's more biblically based. I think he was in the process of doing that. I mean, as I've heard, as I understand, his faith was relatively new in that sense. And he was becoming more and more passionate about his faith. In fact, when I first heard about him, he was not really someone I wanted to be to listen to. He had good points, yes, but he was very secular. Very secular. Well, things changed. As I understand, a lot of it had to do with some Christian voices that spoke to him, and he was like, this is all spiritual. And his worldview changed. He saw a new path forward, and it wasn't necessarily something that any particular man can create. It's something only God can create, something that's spiritual rather than physical. Turning Point USA doesn't have to succeed to be his legacy. It is people's faith that starts to be rekindled, that becomes the legacy that he has. So I heard someone saying, I think it was Tim Pool who said this one, that his efforts have been because of how things are devolving, that his efforts and his sacrifice have been wasted. They're never wasted. God can do things incredible when everyone else sees failure. I'm not surprised that so many people would see failure, because they're not technically part of God's church by their own words. So is it any wonder that they don't see how God can restore life from death, including death of an idea, death of a movement? God can do all sorts of incredible things. We just need to be willing participants to do what we can when He calls us. Were you a bot? Nope. Golden. So that was not a bot. Hotel blankets. Ugh. I wish I could tell some of those commentators about how God is not necessarily working for Turning Point USA, because I think a lot of them don't understand that. I lost my ability to speak to people about stuff like that. I had their ear for a short time, and I lost that. Doesn't mean that's gone forever, and maybe there's a reason why God wanted that to happen. Even though I think people are getting spiritually hurt because of it, which has me troubled, but it's not like I can change something if God has ordained it to be. I know a couple of people that started volunteering for Turning Point the moment that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I did not. In fact, my main focus is right now trying to find a way to engage local Christian communities, because in my observations, that's what Charlie Kirk would have wanted foremost. Some people say, oh, well, his legacy is through Turning Point, so obviously we need to focus on that. No, his legacy was focused on God's kingdom, and he made that clear enough multiple times, especially in recent years, recent months even. So the most important thing to do is to work to reestablish the national movement to bring revival to our communities. Here's something to think about. Is revival brought because only because God says that it's time? That now is the time for the nation to be spiritually revived? While I believe that can happen, how many times does God constantly say, repent? And then he waits to see if we'll do it. What if people like Charlie Kirk is kind of like the modern version of a prophet trying to call people back to God? Do we wait on God to create a revival in that sense? Or do we say, you know what? He is always calling us to revival. Are we going to revive our faith? Maybe the nation will do it, but are we going to say that we ourselves are going to change and improve and refuse to give in to the ways of the world? That guy probably didn't think through that very well. Oh golly, I'm stuck. Silly game. If I stayed on the other side of the river, I would have had a better shot. But when he landed close, I was like, I gotta get away. Couldn't get onto the vehicle. Well, we're gonna go and do some coding. After we check out the gift. Shadow Storm. Nah. All right. Leave that. And we move on to the next activity. I'm going to get myself some more water before we begin. By the way, you'll probably notice that my green screen is slightly out of whack. It's because the heater's on, and I don't want to cover up the heater with the blanket. I'm too low-key to really stress too much about having everything just right for the streams. Now, there's many people that do that already. I just want to be as down-to-earth as possible. And one of those things is saying, hey, you know what? It's cold out. I got a heater on. And you already have a background back there. The green screen just doesn't go down all the way. Thankfully, it's mostly where I'm sitting in front of. You know, unless I shift over like that, then you can see it. All right. Let's figure out where we are with this. So, right now, we got a couple of bugs that were starting to happen because I was doing a little bit of a few changes with it. And I don't remember where I left off. Oh yeah, I was changing the movement system, so I'm going to go silent while I do this. If you have some comments or some questions, be sure to sing out, but we've not had anybody ask questions during these streams so far, so I don't think we'll have to worry about that. All right, so some context of what we're doing for tonight, because now I am up to speed with kind of what I'm doing, or at least, the where I was at. So the player has some problems when moving around the map, and we don't want the player to be able to clip into objects. To avoid this, what we're going to do is we're going to create the ability for the player to the player piece to look ahead, see if it is an area that it can enter into, and then move. Because right now what happens is the player can basically is moving and then it's calculating the collision. We want to calculate the collision before going in. And for whatever reason, some past techniques I had were just not operating. So we're doing it anew. Well, this one is confounding me. I know that there's something here that I need to do. So right now I want, when the player goes to the wall, there is this bit of text that's supposed to pop up that says, shifting the search left. When it moves down, shifting search down. And if it comes back as false, you're allowed to go. If it comes back true, you stop. Well, right now what happens is, right now the search goes left, but it's missing that ability to look ahead once you press the button for the first time. So something is amiss. Maybe I should bring the stream to a close at this point. It's getting to midnight. We're going to try and do some daytime streams over the next few days. Not until after Christmas, but that will be on the list of things to do. But I'm getting the gut feeling like this is going to take a while. And rather than just be silent on here, I think it better to go offline, work with this, and then come back for something a bit more interesting. Don't worry, we're almost done with this project. We won't have to worry about it for much longer. Anyway, we're going to call it there. Have a very pleasant evening and morning, everybody. Be civil to one another. Show mercy to folks. And try and change this culture by changing your soul, first and foremost. Until next time, folks. Golly, I'll tangle up here in this, in these earbuds. Have a very pleasant evening. We'll see you all next time.